the day Elena won the Best Actress award. I was sitting in the audience. She held the trophy, her smile no longer showing any trace of the innocence and helplessness from 5 years ago when she found me. To win this award, the person I must thank the most is Andrew. My Mr. Chun, she said. Her Mr. Chun wasn't me. Almost the moment Elena spoke, everyone in the venue turned their eyes toward me, with looks of pity and surprise. This was because they all knew that Elena's success today was entirely due to my support and protection. I smiled silently and was the first to start clapping, but the girl who had lived in my heart since she was 16 years old had finally disappeared. Chapter 1. The day. Elena won the Best Actress award on her 29th birthday. In truth, winning this award at 29 can hardly be considered early fame, but Elena entered the industry late, only making her first film 3 years ago. It was also a film I personally crafted for her. In 3 years, I gradually elevated Elena to the throne of box office queen. If I directed a film, she was the leading lady. Because of this, I offended quite a few people during those 3 years, but I didn't care. As I watched the woman standing under the spotlight, dressed in a champagne-colored gown, my thoughts drifted back to 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was 27 and had already established a name in the entertainment industry, hailed as the most talented director of my generation. My name guaranteed a film's quality, with no room for error. But no one knew that my entry into the industry was, in fact, for one person, for Elena. So when she appeared before me on that rainy night, drenched, my heart was far from the calm facade I displayed. Inside, it was a tempest, uncontrollable. Elena's body trembled from the cold as she stood at the bottom of the steps, looking up at me. Rainwater trickled down her neck and into her collar. "Director Lion," she said, "I heard you're casting the female lead for your new movie. Although I'm just a newcomer, I've been studying acting for a long time. I know a lot about your films. Could you please watch me audition for a scene?" I didn't speak, just took off my coat and draped it over her shoulders. "No need for an audition. It's you." In that moment, Elena's expression froze for a second, then was replaced by an incredibly radiant and dazzling smile. Just like in the summer when she was 16, wearing a dress standing among white doves. She became the turning point in my otherwise mundane life. I had the courage to agree because Elena was the prototype for all the female leads in my scripts. I only film stories I've written myself, and she was my best choice. 3 years. I spent countless sleepless nights, exhausting all my inspiration to bring Elena to the trophy. Before coming here, she told me she had a surprise for me if she won this honor. Elena smiled. Her face on the big screen was flawless. She was born to be a star. Beautiful enough and ruthless enough. I want to thank my fans for their support throughout this journey. It's because of them that I can stand here before you, she said, her voice tinged with emotion, eyes glistening with tears. For a moment, I almost thought she was looking right at me. There is one person I must. Her voice melded with the sound of my heartbeat, and I couldn't hear anything else, nor see anyone unimportant. Elena looked straight into my eyes, and with those scarlet lips, she uttered the most merciless words. "The person I want to thank is Andrew. My Mr. Chun." Andrew, a senior in the entertainment industry, a former Best Actor. I caught a glimpse of the mocking smile on Elena's lips, and the straight back I had maintained collapsed in an instant. It wasn't me. The person she wanted to thank, the person she wanted to have, was not me. The venue was so large, yet I felt like a clown with nowhere to hide. Everyone's eyes on me. For 3 years, the jealousy and resentment others felt because of my care for Elena were now laced with mockery. I looked at the photo on my phone of the girl in a white dress and smiled. Congratulations, starting with me. The applause filled the entire venue. Chapter 2. Under the Spotlight. Andrew stepped onto the stage and held Elena's hand as they lifted the trophy together. He looked at her, smiling gently. "This trophy is something you truly deserve." I could already imagine the words that would flood Facebook tonight, praising them as a perfect match, golden couple, or a strong alliance. In any case, none of it had anything to do with me. I thought Elena no longer needed my protection. I stood up, taking advantage of everyone's attention on them, and carefully turned to leave through the side door. However, the host's voice stopped me in my tracks. As we all know, every movie Elena has starred in since her debut has been directed by director Lion. Is there a special connection here? I turned back and met Elena's gaze across the room. Over these 3 years, everyone who met me had gossiped about my relationship with Elena, but I always brushed it off with a laugh. Elena was a rising star, and neither love affairs nor rumors would benefit her, let alone rumors involving me. An actor and a director. I'd seen enough in the industry to know how the media could spin that. Those terms should never be associated with Elena. I assumed Elena would brush it off as she usually did with polite remarks. But to my surprise, she went along with the host's questioning. The first time I met director Lyon, he told me that the female lead in his script was tailor-made for me. Ever since our first collaboration, director Lyon has sought me out for every film. To me, he's like a mentor, so I've never refused him. Elena's tone was gentle, but I felt as if I had plunged into an icy abyss. It was as if the girl who once held my hand, pleading for my help, had never existed. Andrew, picking up on Elena's words, added, "Elena is talented and beautiful. It's natural for a director to want her in his films, but I still hope that some people won't use their past kindness to repeatedly threaten her." Andrew's words were harsh, almost accusing me of exploiting Elena for publicity. Yet I had paid her for all her performances. And knowing she was unknown, I even gave her an extra 30% for the first 2 films. But now, in their narrative, I had become someone who exploited past favors. I stood there, fists clenched, heart racing with anger. But Elena continued to look at me with that same gaze, proud, cold, even disdainful. What right did she have? I knew this wasn't the right moment to defend myself, so I turned and left. The live stream comments on Facebook had already exploded into chaos. Naturally, Elena and Andrew's fans were supporting them, while some more rational netizens defended me. But as a director, my fan base couldn't compare to theirs, and before long, my Facebook was flooded with attacks. The media started to speculate, with some even saying that without Elena, my films would be nothing. I suppressed my anger and prepared to post the truth on Facebook. After all, I still had the chat logs with Elena. But before I could publish it, I received a call from her. "Kyle," she said, "I hope you can stay silent about what happened tonight." "Why should I? Otherwise, I'll tell the media that you're responsible for your brother's death." Chapter 3. The Threat. Elena's tone was cold and emotionless, like an arrow piercing my heart. I could feel the scalding blood flowing out of my chest, the gaping wound allowing the cold wind to pour in relentlessly. But the one who hurt me was the girl I had been unable to forget since I was 16. "Elena, what right do you have to treat me like this?" I closed my eyes, voice trembling uncontrollably. But my vulnerability elicited no sympathy from her. "This is what you owe me, her. In this life, I owe no one except my brother." After saying those words, Elena hung up. I listened to the dial tone on the other end and leaned my head against the window. My brother died when I was 13. We were twins. When we were born, because I had a congenital heart condition, our parents abandoned me at the door of an orphanage. It wasn't until I was 8 that my brother happened to meet me, and we discovered our connection. From that day on, my brother and I often met. His presence filled the void of family in my life, easing my pain and sorrow. My brother told me that after our parents abandoned me, they argued day and night and soon divorced. He went with our mother, who later remarried, but my brother wasn't happy in that family. On our 13th birthday, my brother promised to give me the gift our mother had given him. He said he had received many gifts, and the next one should be mine. That day, I waited a long time, and he never showed up. The snow blanketed the entire city. Following the directions my brother had given me, I slowly walked to the address, only to find a horrifying sight. On the snow-covered street, there was blood, bright red blood. My brother lay on the ground, with a basketball rolling beside him. Later, our mother found me. She kept me with her, but she became mentally unstable after my brother's death. She often called me by my brother's name, and I never corrected her. She divorced that man, and after my brother died, my heart condition healed. He gave me his heart. Before he died, my brother held my hand and said he was sorry for letting me suffer alone for so many years. But in truth, he was the one who had done the most for me. After I graduated from middle school, I left home, and it was there that I met Elena. She might have already forgotten me. A boy she encountered briefly on the street. But I remembered her. I remembered her dancing among the white doves, her loud laughter, her bright and sunny face, and the small daisy she placed beside me. "Are you my fan? Don't be sad that receiving a flower from your idol should make you happy. Let me light up your world. Elena reached out and poked the corners of my mouth, lifting them into a smile. I just stared at her, as if at that moment, I had truly seen the angel my brother spoke of. Kyle, what should we do about tonight? My assistant's voice interrupted my thoughts. I opened my eyes and looked at the now-dark phone screen. People often talk about the unforgettable first love. The Elena from before was indeed my unforgettable first love, but now she means nothing to me. I lifted my head and looked at the moonlight hidden behind the clouds. Then I sent that article. Elena, you still don't understand me. You don't know that some things, for me, have long become old wounds. How could they possibly be the reason to stop me now? By the time I got home, my phone had been bombarded with calls from Elena. When I didn't answer, she started frantically sending me messages. Kyle, what do you mean by this? Kyle, answer the phone. You need to explain yourself. Kyle, don't ignore me. I'm scared. Do you not like me anymore? Are you not going to support me anymore? Chapter 4, The Aftermath. Ken, didn't you say you would always be my #1 fan? Elena's messages kept flooding in. I muted her chat and opened Facebook. The article I'd just posted had skyrocketed to the top of the trending list. While there were still insults from Elena's fans, rational voices emerged. So Elena wants to have it both ways. Use someone up and then ditch them. Worried about director Lyon's future. Think Andrew is any better? He just played the victim. Poor director Lyon. Blinded by love. I laughed at the comments. Blinded by love. Truly foolish. Luckily, I'd recovered. A knock sounded at the door. It had to be Elena. I opened it to find her standing there, furious. In the first 2 years after our reunion, she'd never looked at me this way. She'd always been gentle, kind, the radiant sun. When did that change? Probably when comments like Elena can make it without Kyle started appearing. She began to think I was holding her back. Too controlling, not as great as she'd thought. During our worst fights, she'd point at my nose and curse. I'd always apologize and beg for forgiveness. What do you mean by this? Elena pushed my shoulder. I leaned against the doorframe, staring coldly. What do I mean? You slandered me. Can't I defend myself? People have the right to know the truth. The truth? You just want to ruin me. Are you upset I went public with Andrew? Ken, I'm just your puppet. All your kindness was because of her. She screamed, expression twisted. Her words confused me. Heard of who? Seeing my silence, she took it as confirmation. Did I hit the nail on the head? The girl in the white dress in your photo album is your true love, isn't she? All the care you gave me was because I look like her. You used me as a substitute. What era are we in? Still playing this standouting game? You make me sick. Tears filled her eyes. The photo was backlit, so she couldn't see the face clearly. She thought it was someone else. I found it absurd because of this bizarre misunderstanding. She wanted to destroy my efforts, reputation, films, and the world I'd built. Indeed, an unforgettable first love is only fit for memories. Elena, I made a mistake about you. I closed the door, leaving her cursing outside. That night, a recording of our conversation leaked. It was wrong of me to say those things, but I was in so much pain. The person I trusted saw me as a shadow. It turned out everything was part of Elena's plan. Chapter 5, The Manipulator. I have to admit, she's skilled at manipulating public opinion. Within hours, online criticism of her ungratefulness shifted to sympathy for her as a stand-in victim. Even when netizens pointed out her benefits, others rebutted Elena's wounded heart as a young girl. I ignored the frenzy, turned off my phone, and slept. For the first time in ages, I dreamed of my brother. Though we looked alike, no one confused us. He always smiled, no matter the hardship. Even in death, he'd stroked my hair gently. Live well, Ken. In the dream, I saw our first meeting. I sat on a park bench, watching a happy family, cold in tattered clothes. He approached, surprised, then squatted. What's your name? I think I'm your brother. Later, he said he'd known because I looked like an abandoned animal who needed protection. I woke at dawn, brother's final moments flashing in my mind. My phone was full of missed calls and messages urging me to check Facebook. Elena's pinned chat read, Ken, you forced me into this. Elena, will never be anyone's stand-in. 3 months ago, Elena met Andrew on a variety show and distanced herself. My orphanage upbringing made it hard to question others. Now I knew. She'd seen the photo but never asked, and I thought the past didn't matter. I was wrong. I told my assistant I'd hold a press conference in 3 days to end this farce, but likely the end of my career. I needed a break, to live as my brother wished. Then Andrew called, insisting on a talk. I agreed out of exhaustion. Chapter 6. Andrew's Revelation. Andrew met me at a private restaurant. I know who director Lyon's unforgettable first love is. It's Elena. My hand trembled. I'd expected many things, but not this. What do you want? I asked, studying him. He was no rookie. Time had given him steadiness, but his eyes were bottomless pits. Don't be nervous. Elena is a great prospect. Beautiful, young, naive, he said. True. For 3 years, I'd shielded her from the industry's filth. Pure actors take a director's vision. Andrew chuckled. So I chose her. I'm not young. The industry changes fast. Using a female actor for attention is common. Unfortunately, Elena was too attached to you. So I had to uproot you from her heart. His tone was casual, but his words pierced me. I stood, grabbed his collar. You made her misunderstand me? He didn't answer, but I knew. She's a person, not a plaything. I shouted. So what? Helping me is her honor, he said, smiling smugly. I raised my hand to strike, but the door burst open. Stop, Ken. Elena pushed me away, standing in front of Andrew. Rena, listen. He's lying. No, you lied. You wrote that woman into your scripts and had me play her. You make me sick. Her disgust silenced me. Andrew feigned injury. I'm sorry for meeting him behind your back. I wanted him to apologize. Fool, let's go. She shielded Andrew, brushing past me. I grabbed her wrist. What if I told you that person has always been you? She sneered. Do you think I'm an idiot? If it were me, why didn't you say so before? She left with Andrew, her warmth fading. Why didn't I tell her? Because I'd been a mess, wanting to show my best self, not the defeated boy I once was. Now, maybe it was too late. Chapter 7. The Past Unleashed. Elena seemed to retaliate for my near-to-violence toward Andrew. Gossip accounts spread stories about my childhood, orphanage upbringing, petty crimes, and causing my brother's death. My assistant raged, but I was calm. If they wanted to curse, let them. Chapter 8. The Press Conference and Farewell. It must be uncomfortable to hold it in, my assistant said, putting down his phone. Ken, are you really done making movies? I sipped my wine, sprawled on the sofa. I've earned enough to live. I'm done. I want to see the world. Making movies is about giving, and these past 3 years, I've lost that ability. He opened his mouth to protest, then fell silent, eyes tearing up. Why cry? I asked, startled. Nothing. Just, it's a shame. You love movies, and now you're giving up. And Elena, you did so much for her, and in the end, I swirled the wine. Regret? No. It's the price for youthful dreams. Besides, without Elena, I might never have become a director. She once said she wanted to stand on camera and make everyone love her. At the press conference, the room buzzed with reporters hungry for headlines. I sat on stage, amused. At 16, I'd never dreamed of this. First, I have no unforgettable first love unless it's the 16-year-old Elena. I had her photo edited to reveal her face, projecting it on the screen. Murmurs stopped. I told our story, including my brother's. It was liberating. I became a director for Elena, wrote every script for her. But when she finally stood in my films, she wasn't the girl I'd hoped for. I smiled at the cameras. My heart belongs to my brother. He wanted me to live extraordinarily. Before 30, I lived for Elena and movies. Now, I'll live for myself. For his heart. I'm done directing. My leading lady is gone. Flashes stopped. I saw fans crying. Unfair, maybe, but necessary. Elena's trembling voice cut through the silence. I don't know when she'd arrived, but it didn't matter. I bowed to the crowd and headed backstage, her calls trailing me. She grabbed my arm as I reached the car, eyes red. Why didn't you tell me? Was it necessary? I tried in that private room. Ken, I know I was wrong. If it was always me, can we start over? Can I still be your leading lady? Once, I might have believed her. Now, I couldn't tell if she wanted me or the fame. I can't capture your beauty anymore, Elena. Only the 16-year-old you. I got in the car, leaving her pounding the window. Chapter 9, moving on. The conference sent shockwaves. Facebook trended with our names, some urging Elena to leave Andrew. I posted the private room conversation, silencing her defenders. Onlookers mocked them as perfect matches. I bought a ticket to Tibet. The next day, Elena sat outside my door, sleepless and pale. Where are you going? Does it matter? Ken, we didn't have to end like this. You let us hear Elena. I don't regret meeting you or helping you, but even babies walk alone after 3 years. You can't leech forever. I love you. That's why I was angry to why I hated you. Love? Maybe once. But when it's tainted by greed, it dies. And Andrew? It was to make you jealous. I studied her face, once my obsession. Elena, I believe you loved me. But you trusted Andrew's clumsy lies without asking me. That's not love. You lacked trust that you just wanted to escape, so you chose the wrong path. I left with my suitcase. Later, I heard she'd waited at the airport until she fainted. Some pitied her, others called it an act. It didn't concern me. Chapter 10, Epilogue. I traveled widely. On the road, the past faded. I had a small portrait of my brother tattooed on my chest. My assistant still worked in the industry, updating me on Elena and Andrew. As Andrew had feared, he'd faded, now playing fathers or supporting roles, mocked online for his past words. Elena stayed on screen, but without my scripts, her acting felt flat. She pinned my name on Facebook, but few cared. A year later, back in the city, I visited a TV set where Elena filmed a minor role. A young actress that reportedly my fan purposefully messed up a scene where she slapped Elena. The director whispered that the girl disliked Elena. I watched silently. Leaving, I saw Elena in a corner, pleading with an assistant director, humble and worn. Her white dress had lost its shine. The wind blew her hair. She turned, meeting my gaze, frozen. I smiled and waved. The thing about unforgettable first loves? Even when they stand before you, they're gone. She died at 16,